Welcome to our Wild Wacky World, where I bring you crazy, unbelievable, and amazing stories that happened on this day, from the present to years past. Today's story happened in 1926. In the world of captivating and unbelievable stories, there's none quite like the enigmatic life and baffling fate of the legendary escape artist Harry Houdini. For over 3 decades, he astounded audiences with his death-defying stunts, from submerged escapes to being buried alive, and he always managed to outwit the jaws of destiny. But what ultimately led to the magician's surprising end? Join us today as we delve into the shocking and perplexing tale of how Houdini was remarkably struck in the stomach, unraveling the mysteries of his final act. October 22nd, 1926. For over 30 years, Harry Houdini dazzled audiences with his bravado stunts and superhuman endurance. So what finally changed his fate? The Hungarian-born escape artist jumped off bridges while handcuffed and wearing leg irons. He slithered out of steel milk cans filled with water, and he had devised a Chinese water torture cell in which he was submerged and suspended upside down by his ankles. None of those did him in. Houdini's heart-pounding getaways usually involved a healthy dose of trickery and sleight of hand, but they were also fraught with genuine risk. In 1915, Houdini nearly suffocated during a stunt in which he was shackled and buried under 6 feet of dirt. Houdini had made a career out of surviving the impossible, which only made the circumstances of his 1926 fate all the more mysterious. The 52-year-old performed before a packed house in Detroit on October 24th, but he was rushed to the hospital afterward with an apparent case of appendicitis. He experienced a significant change in his condition just a week later on Halloween, leaving his legions of admirers bewildered. An obituary in the New York Times expressed shock at the sudden transformation of the man who so often seemed to thousands to be defying the very jaws of fate. The strange series of events that led to Houdini's destiny kicked off several weeks earlier, on October 11th, 1926. While being shackled into his Chinese water torture cell during a performance in Albany, New York, the conjurer was struck on the leg by a piece of faulty equipment. He hobbled his way through the rest of the show, but was later to have found to sustained a fractured left ankle. Against doctor's advice, Houdini continued his tour and traveled to Montreal, where he gave a lecture at McGill University. Just a few days later, on October 22nd, he was invited some McGill students to visit him in his dressing room at the Princess Theater. The magician's sore ankle was still bothering him, so he sat down on a couch while the group chatted. At some point, a student named J. Gordon Whitehead arrived and asked Houdini if it was true that he could resist hard punches to his abdomen, a claim the magician had supposedly made in public. According to witness Sam Smithovich, when Houdini said the rumors were true, Whitehead abruptly delivered 4 or 5 powerfully deliberate, well-aimed strikes to his stomach. Houdini was still reclined on the couch and had no time to prepare for the punches, which appeared to leave him in considerable discomfort. Houdini brushed off the incident at the time, but that same evening, he began to complain of discomfort and stomach cramps. His condition only worsened the next day, when he boarded an overnight train to Detroit for a new run of performances. The magician developed severe abdominal pain, cold sweats, and fatigue, and his temperature rose to 104 degrees. A doctor suspected appendicitis and instructed Houdini to go to the hospital, but the performer insisted on taking the stage for his opening night show at the Garrick Theater. He proceeded to struggle through his routine before collapsing immediately after the final curtain. The show would be Houdini's last. That same night, he was taken to a Detroit hospital and prepped for surgery. Doctors successfully removed his appendix, which was found to have experienced a significant change several days earlier, but it had already poisoned his insides. Despite a grim prognosis, the magician clung to life until October 31st, when he took his last breath. His wife, Bess, and 2 brothers were by his side. His will gave all his magic equipment to his brother, Theodore Hardin, who was also a magician and escape artist. The will stipulated that after Hardin's destiny, the props should be destroyed and burned. However, Hardin sold much of Houdini's props, with many of the pieces ending up in the Houdini Magical Hall of Fame in Niagara Falls, Ontario. The museum burned down in 1995, destroying many of the pieces, thus partially fulfilling Houdini's will. Subscribe for more stories from our Wild Wacky World. Don't forget to hit that like button and click that notification bell so you will know when new stories are uploaded. See you soon!